I am so inspired to come here and see the people of the UK are well aware and they are vibrant and they're fighting back, but they're fighting back with positivity. That's why I'm saying here, I want to spread that message to everybody. Message to Justin Trudeau.
Right guys, so we all know what we're here for, these 15-minute cities, and that's just the start of it. We already know that they are going to try and put us into more lockdowns. We've seen a few idiots wearing masks before, that's already started, you know? So we know exactly where they're going. With these 15-minute cities, they deny that they're actually going to do it, but all of the infrastructure is getting put into place. They've already started saying now, if you remember in Liverpool, they had the bus lanes and they fucked them off because they didn't work. They were useless, okay? But they've started to say that they're going to bring them back out, the bus lanes. There's going to be 5 routes across the city of Liverpool. That's all part of this 15-minute infrastructure. This 15-minute cities. They're just liars. I've been amongst them for the last couple of months since I've been campaigning to become a councillor in the Exactly ward in North Liverpool. There. I'll hold it like that. Isn't that how Valduna can use to hold it?
Walk tall!
Right, so we know what's going to happen. We know about the 15-minute cities and the new lockdowns that they're going to try, and there's other variants of viruses and all of that kind of bollocks. But we've got to stay strong. We've got to stay strong, and we've got to keep getting that message spread out. You know, look how many people are here today. You know, we've even got Chris over from Canada. He's here. We had Ricky here before, Ricky Lambert. You know, the more people that we get from outside that will join up with us in this fight, in this struggle, because it's a battle between good and evil. That's what I truly believe. Since I started this 3 years ago, I could see it was a simple battle between good and evil. That's what I could see. And everyone here probably sees that as well. You know, it's not a battle between left, right, left wing or far right or any of that nonsense. That's what these idiots want you to believe. It's nothing to do with that. Let the left wing and let the far right, let them go somewhere else on a field and let them fight amongst themselves. That's nothing to do with this. We're here for the betterment of humanity. We want to live free. We want to prosper. That's what we want, you know, the futures of our children, the future generations. That's what we're here standing up for. We're not here for any of the other bollocks that they say that we're here for, okay? It's as simple as that. We do not engage with them idiots. They're evil, they're part of that evil agenda. We do not engage with them. And how do we the truth and we stick to the facts and we keep on pushing them truth and facts. That's all we can do. And from the heart and from the soul, that's how I do. I get up here now, I don't even know what to say. I'm just rambling on. I don't know what to say. These idiots, everything is, it's all conspired, everything, it's all dirty. It's just dirty. I'm trying to keep it clean, to be honest. There's a few kids here and stuff, so. But we're going to get another speaker. Who are we getting up next? We're going to get Chris up. Chris, we're going to get up.
The sound system just got way louder all of a sudden. Why am I here today? Where did I come from? And where are we going? Well, I'm here today because I'm on a world tour. A tour to change the world. A tour to bring united non-compliance to the entire Commonwealth and then to the rest of the world. I started in the United States, the seat of freedom in the world, and I went all the way from the southeast to the west coast to the northeast. And now I'm here in the UK, and the message is the exact same. They are trying to bring the 15-minute city, the personal carbon allowance, the digital identity, the digital currency to every single country in the world. Whenever there is a worldwide authority like the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organization that aims to dictate national policy, it is never in the best interest of you, the people. And every single agenda that they are trying to force down your throat, starting with COVID, which is coming back if we let it, followed by climate change, and ending off with the LGBT agenda against your children. I come from Canada, where a lot of this is even worse than it is here. We have already encoded the 15-minute city bylaw into our law. How do I know that? I'm not just a speaker. Before I started speaking out, I have over 20 years as an award-winning developer, designer, and planner. I actually built cities, imagine that. So I'm a little bit qualified to speak on this topic. And how dangerous is a 15-minute city? They tell you it's all about convenience. You know where the most convenient place to live is? Jail. You live there, you work there, you shower there, you go to the gym there, you go to the library there, you do everything there. It's so convenient. You don't need a car. And the best part is, you pesky people, you carbon-based life forms, you will reduce your carbon footprint and be doing your part for society. So while Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates and all of your prime ministers and their people are flying around on their private jets and sitting on their yachts and eating their beef Wellington, you're supposed to be sitting in your mixed-use building. That's what a 15-minute city is all about. I'm going to explain it to you. They want you to live in a building like this one, but about 60 stories tall. The top 30 to 40 floors are going to be where you live. And they want you in about 250 square feet. Not much bigger than a jail cell. The bottom is going to be where you work. And then the middle of it is where your gym is, your Starbucks, your grocery store, your hairdresser, your clothing store. So you never need to leave your building. And to make sure you won't leave your building, up until now, every single development had to have a minimum amount of parking. Why? For the people who live there, for the people who are going to be coming and using the services, and for the future expansion of the infrastructure of the city. Imagine that. Under the bylaws of 15-minute city, now it's a maximum number of parking. Why? Because the purpose of a 15-minute city is to reduce your carbon footprint. And the number one way to do that is to take away your car. So they are designing these cities to ensure that the vast majority of you will simply be unable to drive. And how are they ensuring that? Well, first they're making streets and making it so you can't drive cars on them. Not only is that inconvenient, now every single small business on that street is going to go broke. because they rely on people coming in from out of town to service their business. So now they're wiping out small business. It gets worse. Now they have bollards separating your so-called districts straight out of the Hunger Games. And if you try to leave your district when you're not allowed, they're gonna watch you with a camera and fine you. And that's just now. How long is it gonna be until they have actual guards with guns preventing you from leaving your district? Your building is identical to the building in the next district. The same gym, the same supermarket, the same big business. So you have even less reason to leave. And I don't know about you, but I come from Canada. And in Canada we have something called snow. And it's on the ground about 6 months of the year. So if you don't have a car and you want to leave your place, what, you're gonna get on your electric scooter? You're gonna get on your bicycle? Especially to take the kids somewhere? Or if you're older or disabled, where are you going? Answer, you're gonna be on lockdown for 6 months out of the year. Just like they wanted you with COVID. Every one of their little agendas is not about public health, it's not about safety, it's about control. COVID was to train you that individual rights and freedoms are no longer paramount to a successful society. And that dependence on the government was far more important than independence. And they did that in 2 years without firing a shot. That was programmed into our psyches to the point where we fought multiple world wars and sacrificed millions of people's lives, because that's how important individual rights and freedoms are. And just like that, overnight, we gave them up. And now they wanted to continue it with climate change. The only thing that saved us, ladies and gentlemen, was the Canadians and our trucker convoy. I'm gonna be honest, if it wasn't for that trucker convoy, we would have never got rid of mandates for travel and all the rest of it. And if we were still under COVID-style lockdowns, every one of their climate change initiatives, from 15-minute cities, personal carbon allowances, digital IDs, digital currency, would have pushed through. Because when you're too busy worrying about the mask, the jab, your job, you're not going to be worrying about climate change. So that's how important it was for us to get rid of that crap. And last year, we didn't have any lockdowns. And they tried the climate change stuff, and it fell flat on its face. Why? Because people aren't scared of climate change. People don't feel guilty about climate change. You're not going to mandate or make them lose their job. So that's why all the COVID restrictions are coming back. I tried to warn people that this time, they're going to go after the kids. Because they know none of you want to put that mask back on. And the only way you're going to do it is if they scare the living hell out of you. And Bill Gates said it himself. In Pandemic Part 2, they're going to go after the kids. And I spoke with a gentleman who exposed a plan to close down schools and install a weaponized viral delivery system in certain schools to create pandemics. And wouldn't you know it, what did they just do in the UK? They closed down over 100 schools, citing so-called faulty concrete. And wouldn't you know it, that so-called faulty concrete is also in both your major airports, Heathrow and Gatwick. So now they have an excuse to shut down your flights. And not only do they want to shut down your flights, they want to price you right out of the market. I don't know if you noticed, but you guys are the first country in the world to have a new mandate for a special jet fuel called SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel. It's so green and wonderful, and it costs more than twice as much. So now, any flight that you take is going to cost more than twice as much. They are literally trying to take away your rights, your freedoms, your mobility, and they are coming after your children. In COVID, your children suffered the most. With the climate change agenda, your children's future suffer the most. And with the LGBT agenda, your children are at risk from being literally taken away from you. The government wants to install themselves as the primary caregiver and primary influence in your child's life, splitting up the family unit. And I know this for a fact because they're doing it in Toronto and Canada as we speak. Remember when Pride? First of all, what is Pride? Not only is it one sin, Pride is literally the beginning of all sin. It is the worst of the 7 deadly sins. So we're supposed to celebrate that and teach it to our children. And now, when Pride started as a simple parade, it became a month in Canada. And this year, they just turned it into an entire season. And not only is Pride now an entire season, they changed laws to accommodate. Grown men in Canada can now literally walk around with their complete genitals exposed to your 8-year-old child. I have police officers on duty, on video, in uniform, admitting to this fact. Admitting they could only arrest a naked man if his penis was fully erect or he was in the process of masturbating. So if he's only half erect and his boyfriend is spanking him in the bum and his penis is face height to your 8-year-old daughter, well, that's perfectly acceptable. You just have to be more open-minded. And now they want to bring drag queens into the schools while teaching your children that there are 75 genders and counting, and that they can choose their pronoun and even their species. If you think this is healthy, if you think it's healthy in the child, you got another thing. And we need to stand together for the children. The children need to be the unifying factor in this fight. They will try to divide us just like they did today. What are those people all divided? What are they divided over? Literally, just screaming out things like racist, Nazi, the stupidest things alive. They want to divide you over race, religion, politics, COVID. But what can unite us all? The love for our children. And if you fight back out of love for your children and your friends' children and children around the world, well, they can't demonize you and they can't stop you. I actually started working with a new organization called Saving a Child. And it is going to be the largest anti-child trafficking network in the world. And I am proud to say they chose me to be the international face and the international voice of this movement. And they even created a website where people can go and get a preview of what's to come. And it's very simple. It's just joinchrisnow.com. And we're going to create an army of millions of anti-child trafficking warriors around the world. And we're going to save millions of children around the world. And we're going to unite billions of people around the world. I'm not coming here for no reason, ladies and gentlemen. I went all over Canada, all over Mexico, all over the United States. I'm going all over the UK, through Amsterdam, through Australia. And when I'm done, billions of people, not millions, billions of people around the world are going to be aware of the agenda and ready to just say no. You know what? Something very, very, very cool the other day. I was in Serbia, Belgrade, before I came here. And you know what? Did anybody hear a peep about Serbia during the lockdowns? No. It was like the country didn't even exist. We heard about every other country. But you know why they never mentioned Syria? Or Serbia? Because when they tried to lock down Serbia in October 2020, it took 48 hours for the people to come together and drag the politicians out of parliament and say, excuse me, we're not going to be wearing masks or closing our businesses or doing any of that. They had no lockdown. They didn't have any mass death in Serbia. They didn't have a massive mental health crisis in Serbia. They don't have a massive debt and inflation crisis in Serbia. And they're definitely not looking down the barrel of another lockdown or a move to 15-minute cities in Serbia. You want to know why? Because the people stood up for each other. The people love each other. They love their country. And I see the same thing here. I see people standing up in England far more than Canada. And I have not been more inspired by you guys, because the last time I was here, it wasn't this kind of energy. But the people can sense what's coming, and the government knows it. They can't even impose their mandates. They're trying to get it done through the private sector in Canada, slowly but surely. But as we continue to fight, every single day, more and more people wake up. Every single day, we push Agenda 2030 back. They already said it's 2031 now. By the time we're done, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be 2030 never. unity, and let's show the world that we can fight back and we can win. Thank you.